నీ కళ్ళని పట్టుకు వదలనన్నవి చూడే నా కళ్ళు ఆ చూపులనల్లా తొక్కుకు వెళ్ళకు దయలేదా అసలు నీ కళ్ళకి కావాలి కాస్తాయే కటుకల నా కనులు నువ్వు నులుముతుంటే ఎర్ర కంది నేనే సగలు సామజవర గమన నిన్ను చూసి ఆగగలనా మనసు మీద వయసుకున్న అదుపు చెప్పతగునా.
Hello everyone, welcome to DC Conversations, and today we are talking to Sid Sriram. Welcome to DC Conversations.
Thank you.
First of all, tell us how did your upbringing in California kind of add to your musical career? What kind of influence did it have?
Sure. I think the biggest thing um, was the fact that my mom, she started her music school there in California in 92. I was 2 years old. We just moved to California a year before I was born in Chennai. And I would say the biggest kind of, I guess, like aspect of my upbringing that really formed and shaped the way I approach, listen to, and make music was the fact that within this kind of suburb of Northern California, there was this, you could call like an oasis of Carnatic music that was right over there in the house. And I think that's what really kind of gave me my perspective. The fact that here we were in the US, and obviously there's various Western forms of music that was always on the radio, like on the television, everywhere you went. But within that kind of space, there was a almost like a safe haven for me to really kind of dive into Carnatic music and embrace it as something that felt like it was at the very core of who I was. So it was this kind of experience of really immersing in this form while also having different aspects of Western culture kind of exist both within and around me. I think that's what really gave me my unique perspective. Obviously, there's other kind of genres of music that I picked up growing up and such. But I think the experience of having Carnatic music literally all around me at all times for the most part when I was home. But having that occur within the context of being in the States, I think it just gave me a certain very early on, I really deeply valued the music that my mom kind of passed down to me, and I think that kind of value for Carnatic music that I have, and that love for it, and the fact that it grounded me very deeply from a young age, that's what I think has kind of informed everything I've done throughout my career.
So talking about the fusion of Carnatic and Western, what's the most interesting cultural clash that your musical career has had?
Uh, I've never really viewed it as a clash necessarily. I feel like it's always felt like um, here is home, Carnatic music is home, and or the sun, if you may, and then there's these other genres of music that are different planets that are kind of orbiting around it. So instead of it feeling like this thing happening, it felt like this, and then everything emanating outwards from there, and then attracting other forms. Into my kind of consciousness. So for me, Carnatic music has always been at the core of everything. It's how I kind of perceive all sound and music and all the technicalities of music. And with that having been such a pillar, then everything that I kind of came across after that, I was able to. What's been interesting since a young age is I look at it through the framework of Carnatic music, so I understand R&B and soul or hip hop or electronic music, what have you. I find my resonance points in ways that I can, like, okay, I look at it through this kind of framing of ragam, swaram, rhythmic constructs of Carnatic music, and I try to figure out, or rather, the minute I listen to something, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this that is at home. So I think it never felt like a clash. Rather, it seemed like I was just like a sponge, and a sponge that was like kind of anchored by Carnatic music, and then I took everything else into my consciousness, and it has all been kind of like intermingling, playing with each other, in conversation with each other since a very young age, such that now it feels like my vocabulary for music is just a kaleidoscope of all these different things with the foundation and a bed underneath it, which is the Carnatic form.
Yeah, and incidentally, your upcoming concert is also called Homecoming.
Yeah.
What does home mean to you?
Um, I like that question. I think home for me, my definition of it has definitely like evolved over the years. When I was younger, it was very much like my physical home that I grew up in Fremont, California. As I got older and my career really kind of blossomed and took off here in India, home started to feel, I started to feel much more at home when I was here in India. Like anytime I'd even land in Chennai, there was this like involuntary and very deep exhale of just getting to like anywhere I was, anytime I was anywhere else, I feel like I was kind of constricted and just like a certain sense of tension was there that was intrinsic. And then I'd land in India and that would just kind of like relax. So I think for a while that's what felt like home. Now where I'm at, I would say I would say probably the same thing. India feels very much like home, and every time I come here, it feels like I'm reconnecting with the deepest aspects of myself. So this tour um, is really going to be a celebration of that. I think a celebration of me having been embraced so warmly by the fans across this country in different regions of the country. And yeah, just getting to celebrate this journey that I've been on now for about 13 years since I started my first, since my first song for playback.
You are known for, blending contemporary and classical music. What's the biggest challenge you face when you're doing that?
I think the biggest challenge that I've faced is I don't face it as much anymore, but there was definitely like it's been a process of experimentation that started in like 2008. That's when I started studying at Berklee College of Music in Boston, and that's when I first really started having the ideas of what if I took Carnatic music or the things that feel really special to me about Carnatic music, and I started um, kind of having it intermingle with R&B or like, and that could have happened. That happened in ways in which I'd write music with certain chords, and then I'd sing like some alaps on top of that. And that was like the initial kind of trigger point of, oh, I think this could be a thing. The biggest challenges over the years have been just refining the initial experiments. The initial experiments were super raw, for the most part, didn't sound that good. And you know, it's like the initial first drafts.
Yeah.
And the challenge has just been the refining and the constantly trying and seeing what works, what doesn't. And obviously, when you're amidst the process of experimentation, you're going to hit certain roadblocks, especially when it hasn't really been done much before, right? So, like in that way, there was not much of a blueprint for me to follow. So the challenge came in hitting those roadblocks and then doubting oneself, being like, oh, maybe this doesn't work and maybe I shouldn't try it. But then having the kind of wherewithal and mental fortitude and creative kind of curiosity just to keep trying, trying, trying. And I think in the last, I'd say probably 4 to 5 years, I've hit a point where it doesn't feel like those roadblocks really come anymore. I think my musical kind of vocabulary has just grown to the point and my ability to translate from idea to actual execution has refined to the point where it feels without sounding pretentious it feels pretty effortless now.
So you've sung songs in several different languages, and I'm sure every song you give your best and you feel it's your favorite. But what goes into the, in the curation of a multilingual set list? How do you actually pick songs when you have to go on your tours or concerts?
Yeah, I mean, at the very first, most basic level, I just make sure I choose all the hits.
Yeah.
So that's like, and I know which songs people love. So, so that's like, I guess, like the first thing. The second thing is like really now, let's say I have a list of 45 songs because our shows go for about 3 hours and it's
Yeah.
just myself and the band for the whole time. So we have this list of songs. Now it's about how we take that and sculpt it into a journey that feels like it has a real arc to it. What I love about the shows that we do and how I've kind of approached curating them is when you have people's attention for 3 hours, especially in a time like the ones that we live in now where attention span is so less,
Right.
it feels like a great responsibility because these people are going to be tapped in with me for those 3 hours. So I want to really make sure it feels like I'm holding their hand and taking them on a journey. So I think that's the most one challenging but the most exciting part of curating a set list of knowing, okay, if I put, let's say, Kadalalle after Srivalli, let's just you know that one of them is this like really upbeat kind of song that has a bounce, and then you kind of rest into Kadalalle, which starts kind of slowly and there's a more of a meditative kind of feeling to it, and then it kind of builds up into this big climax, and then that's that. So I break my shows up into generally 4 sections or 5 sections where each one has a different kind of general emotional kind of focus where like the first section of the show normally feels like it's daybreak or dawn. Second one feels like we're taking off into space. Third one feels like we're resting in a very peaceful kind of uh, quiet space, and so on. So it's really fun. It feels like an art piece, and the great thing about it is that the repertoire that I have, I've been really blessed to have so many songs be hugely successful. So
Yeah.
you know that you can't go wrong, but at the same time, I don't rest or depend on that entirely. You still have to be very, very intentional about how you order the songs. And we rearrange the songs a lot for live as well. We don't do it exactly as how it's been done on the recording. So, figuring out, okay, how do I want to reapproach this? How do I want to reinterpret it? And what do I believe is going to really kind of give the fans an experience that feels like it transforms them? So a bunch of things go into it, but this is the general kind of approach for sure.
Yeah. Also, you do have, fan requests. Maybe that's not in your list, and they will say we want you to sing this song, and
Yeah.
they ask you to sing a song. But are there songs like you have to sing, like you make a list of things? These songs are part of every tour I do.
To be honest, I mean, like, so almost every song actually hits that criteria. There is like, it depends on what city we're in. If we're here in Hyderabad, then I know that 90% of my set list is going to be in Telugu, and there's a lot of songs that I have in Telugu that really kind of are songs that I cannot miss. Anything from again your Shri Balli to Samaja Varagamana to Nili Nili Akasham and so on. There's many, and then there's some personal favorites that I make sure I never miss in a show. Like Adiga Adiga is one that's always a song I love singing and just pouring myself into on stage. Um, and then sometimes there are some reinterpretations of old songs that we'll do. Like we'll take some songs of A.R. Sir from the 90s and we'll reinterpret them. So those are songs that are not necessarily requirements because the fans aren't expecting it. But there are songs that I know that is going to get people really excited. Last time when we did Hyderabad, we did like a remix or a reinterpretation of Mata Rani Maunamidi by Raja Sir. And that was, no one expected that at all. That when we started that one, everyone was super surprised. So, there's definitely like, in a 3-hour concert, there's 2.5 hours worth of songs that have to be done. And again, that's such a great problem to have because that just means that those songs are really big hits. And so that's like, we make sure we cover that. And the half hour of other material is stuff that I don't do for myself, but I feel like will be a surprise or a different experience for the audience.
And do you have any memorable, experiences from your concert that kind of still gives you the goosebumps even thinking about that?
Um, Yeah, I think this last show that we did in Hyderabad, I think when we did Adiga Adiga specifically, and that's why I mentioned that one, the way that Sohail Mansoori, he does our lights and our visuals, we have these lasers kind of just like, that's just like a sheet of lasers going out into the audience, and that song is already a really intimate, emotional one. And the minute I started singing it, one, the whole audience started singing along, and two, spontaneously, sometimes this happens that sometimes you have to tell them, put your lights up, right? But other times they just start doing it on their own. The audience does it on their own. And when that happens, it feels like a real kind of spontaneous, magical kind of energy that takes over the whole place. So I'd say that was one moment. And then the first show ever that I did in Hyderabad, we started our show off with Yeme Poyave. And again, that I start singing it from off stage and then I walk on stage. So I remember when I first like hit the first 2-3 notes and the audience just kind of like lost their minds. That was also really magical. And there's many such moments, but I think these are the two that just really kind of right now stick out to me for sure.
How do you prepare for your concert? Is there something that you focus on? What's your state of mind before you actually go there to perform?
Yeah, well, the like days leading up to, I make sure like I'm normally with my band and we're rehearsing a bunch. Even with songs that we know really well, we're making sure we're not taking anything for granted and just like getting the set super, super tight. Because what shows are all about is any live experience for that matter. It's all about momentum.
Yeah.
Right. So like even like one, not mistakes or anything, but even if there's too much of a gap in between one song and the next, or you run the risk of losing not people's attention, but that magical kind of connection that you've built, right? So the first thing that we do is the days leading up to, we're just really rehearsing a lot. And just spending time with each other. Like me and my band are super close. We played with each other for now just about a decade, so we've been together for a while. So a lot of it is also about the music we play, but the camaraderie that we feel when we're on stage together, and that really translates to the audience. So it's that. Then on the day of the show, my kind of approach or what I do is I like to stay as quiet as possible. I don't really like talking too much. Um, and I go through the set list in my own head. I have a couple prayers that I'll do right before I go on stage. I have one song specifically that I listen to before I go on stage, and then I spend time with my band, and we just kind of they're incredible musicians, but also guys that don't take themselves too seriously. So we get to just joke around and make sure that the mood is light. And every show that I have to this day, even now after having performed on stage countless times, there's still butterflies, there's still nerves. So I allow myself to feel all of that.
Yeah.
And then we walk on stage and do the thing.
So do you go back to watching your concerts, or maybe for your when you put them on Instagram Reels, people have shared after your concert, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah.
part of the fun. I think like when see the way I perform and the way we perform is when we're on stage, we're not thinking. It's like my mind is definitely completely blank, and the goal is to be hyper present in that moment and not to self-congratulate or judge myself or judge anything. Just be there and just give myself to the moment. So you really don't realize all the things that are happening when you're in
Yeah.
that state of mind. So yeah, definitely after. And then once you get off stage and you go back to your hotel room or wherever you're at, it's so hard. There's like a ramp down period that's necessary because it's been 3 hours of high energy and adrenaline. And so normally either I'm hanging with my band and we're looking through Instagram stories, just like being like, yeah, that was great. That was
Yeah.
that. Or if and even after that, even after we disperse, still looking through. I've kind of told myself my new rule has been in the last year, like don't spend the night after the show doing that. Just relax, do something else, take your mind off of it, and then maybe the next day look through and just kind of. And it's always fun to see it from the audience's perspective, and everyone from the people in the very first row to the people in the very back are posting, so you get to see from every perspective, every angle, how the show really translated to folks, and that's it's such a joy to see that every time.
Do you react to fans' comments sometimes on social media?
Sometimes not much. Like every so often, it'll just be like a quick like acknowledging the love or whatnot. But for the most part, again, I'm in the space now where I'm spending less and less time on social media, just because one, I have not much of a desire to be on there as much because I'm just out living actual life and doing things that doesn't require me to be on my phone.
Yeah.
And also, it just can be a bit of a drain, even if it's positive stuff. Like you kind of like reading about yourself constantly, or just taking in information in general, whether it's about me or not. Constantly is I don't think that's very good for the mind. So I've taken a big step back from being on social media. I'm still posting often and such, but my kind of new approach is go post, delete Instagram off my phone, and if I have to post again, download it again, and then post and then delete it. So that's been nice because my screen time is down a bunch. My time on social media is down a bunch, and I find myself feeling way more inspired and just kind of present with life and the people that are actually around me.
What inspires you? Yeah, I mean, you're not looking into social media, so how do you unwind if not practicing music? And that itself is meditation for you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I realized because people ask me this question, like my everyday, like music is going to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. Either I'm definitely practicing every day. In addition to that, most days I'm making something. Either just I'm like programming some drums for fun or like making a beat, or I'm listening to music or writing something. So that'll always be there. But outside of the kind of realm of music, my ways to wind down is definitely like watching movies or TV shows that I like. reading books, spending time with family. If I'm in a city where I'm able to do it, I'm not going to get like mobbed. I like to go on walks, and just kind of, I love like when I'm in a new city, getting to walk around and just explore, going to cafes and just kind of either people watching or sitting and reading a book. So, and yeah, normal stuff. Yeah, stuff that just like makes me, because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of times as musicians, especially musicians who feel like they're super tapped into a certain spiritual energy and stuff, we get put on a certain pedestal. And I think it's important, I'll speak for myself, it's important for me not to buy into that too much and just remind myself that yes, I do this thing that is special, and I'm very grateful to have been given the gift to do it. But at the same time, I'm a very, very normal human being that likes just do everyday stuff. So things that keep me grounded and that keep me feeling human, for sure.
I mean, you have to constantly be conscious of your voice is very important to you.
Yeah.
So is there a special thing that you wouldn't eat, you would eat, or you actually, control and not give in to temptation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried. The main thing I stay away from is super spicy food. I realized that, or fried foods, and that too. Like sometimes I will, but try to keep it in super moderation because that gets acid going, and then acid going is really bad for your voice. So mainly that. I don't, and like super sugary stuff too. It doesn't really sit well with me, so I kind of stay away from that. Other than that, I'm pretty open. Like cold, like water, ice cream, like I'm cool. Like
Yeah.
that's all fine. Yeah, and I quite enjoy it. So yeah.
Lovely. So I have just one line questions or answers for you, rapid fire. So what's your favorite song to perform live all the time that you completely enjoy and you look forward to it every single time?
Sama Jagaragamana.
Yeah?
Yeah, we placed that in like the last 3 or 4 songs of the set. It's like the kind of the last section of the set is all the hits, and that one is like fourth to last. And every time it starts with my keyboard player and guitarist playing it, la 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 la, like the opening line, the audience loses their mind, and it's just like this one like super high octane performance of a song every time. So that one.
Yeah. And what's your most inspiring music genre apart from your own?
Western classical music currently. I've been listening to a lot of like Chopin, Vivaldi. That's been inspiring me a whole lot.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. What do you think of K-pop?
K-pop, I'd like it. I'm not like super familiar, but I really love how they've been able to package and put this music together and get such an incredible fan base. I was talking to someone, this was a few years ago now, uh, a friend, he had his young daughter. She must have been like 8 or something like that, and she likes my music a lot. So she was saying that, and I asked her what else she liked. She liked K-pop, and she sang a full K-pop song like in Korean with like perfect pronunciation and everything, and that was pretty mind blowing to me that their music has traveled in such a powerful way. So yeah, I'm down for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. And what's been your favorite music collaboration, past or upcoming?
I have two. First is with everything I've done with AR Sir, his favorite. And then recently I had a song with legendary rapper from New York, Nas, produced by Steel Bangles, who's a producer from London. That also, he was like my favorite rapper growing up. So having that song come out felt really special.
Great.
Yeah.
So what's your best advice for those who are aspiring to become musicians?
Yeah, I have like a pretty consistently the advice is the same, but it's really important. I think is dig into yourself, find out who you are, find out what makes you unique, and do not run away from that. Run into it and really embrace that deeply because I think especially in a time where like trends and these things are so rampant, I would say, on social media. I think it's important for artists and musicians and anyone in any creative space to really embrace their own perspective and what makes them who they are and really highlight that and spotlight that and give that to the world because we need as much by way of differing perspectives right now as possible.
So everybody knows about your musical side. Is there a hidden talent that nobody is aware of?
I don't know. I don't really think so. I do these like I mean I posted about it on Instagram. I do these like abstract sketch works. I
Okay.
haven't done them in a while, but a lot of times when I start to get super stressed out, that's my way to unwind. And when I first started doing it, which was around like 2013, they weren't very good, but I've done them consistently over the years and they've gotten pretty good. So I would say probably that. Other than that, all my talents exist within the realm of music.
Any dream collaboration that you want to do in future?
Um, Hmm. Yeah, I think there's a bunch. I think one that I would love to do is I'd love to work with Kendrick Lamar at some point. I want to work with Diljit at some point. And I'm sure there's many other people that are not coming to me now, but for now it's these two. Yeah.
So if you're in a pub in another country or maybe a club and you suddenly listen to your music being played, what's your feeling like?
It's always nice. I think
Yeah.
uh, it's always like a nice sense of affirmation that the music that I've been a part of, and it happens sometimes. It's always nice when to hear that this music has traveled beyond just my own people. First and foremost, I'm so proud that my own people have embraced me the way in which they have. But then to see the music kind of translate and travel across to different cultures, different countries, and different spaces is feels personally really, really good. But also it feels like it's a real testament to the power of music that is intrinsically Indian. The fact that it's super accessible and very can be kind of embraced by anyone.
I want you to sing two lines of two different songs, one Hindi or probably one Tamil and one Telugu.
Sure.
Your favorite?
Okay.
Maybe Samajavara.
Sure. I'll do that one first. నీ కళ్ళని పట్టుకు వదలనన్నవి చూడే నా కళ్ళు ఆ చూపులనల్లా తొక్కుకు వెళ్ళకు దయలేదా అసలు నీ కళ్ళకి కావాలి కాస్తాయే కటుకల నా కనులు నువ్వు నులుముతుంటే ఎర్ర కంది నేనే సగలు సామజవర గమన నిన్ను చూసి ఆగగలనా మనసు మీద వయసుకున్న అదుపు చెప్పతగునా.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay,
And one Tamil?
Yeah.
I'll sing this one. மறுவார்த்தை பேசாதே மடி மீது நீ தூங்கிடு இமை போல நான் காக்க கனவாய் நீ மாறிடு மயில் தோகை போலே விரலுன்னை வருடும் மனப்பாடமாய் உரையாடல் நிகழும்.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us. And the song, I'm sure my viewers will be like super impressed.
Thank you so much.